Hi, welcome to Penny's Crafts Creations. Thanks for joining me again today and taking time out of your day to spend it with me. Today I am working on the skeleton signs that I picked up from Dollar Tree in a haul. I think it was last month. And this is how it started out. That long coffin shape. And I knew when I saw it that I wanted to alter them. I paid 25 cents a piece for them, and I knew when I saw them that I wanted to change them up into different scenes. So the first thing I did was remove all that black ribbon off the back. As you can see here, it's just hanging on by black ribbon. So I removed all of them off the back, and they have these lines from where the glue was sitting. Completely ripped it, so I knew I needed to alter the other side. And removing the paper is really easy. Most of the time it peels all the way off. So you just put your finger in that little part there and grab. And you want to remove all the paper from the top of it. And most of the time it comes off really easily, but there's that rare occasion that it doesn't. So I used a slide cutter and just ran my cutter across the top there, like so, and it removed all that excess pretty easily. So it removed it all. Tap that over in the trash to remove those little bits that I just pulled up. And I knew I was going to be painting them, so I needed some gesso, and I have my flat, whoops, well, that's not a very good paintbrush, completely fell apart. So once it was all removed, and I removed any dust that was left on it, there are some little particles that can be left there. Took my gesso, and I wanted to use gesso because it's a porous surface, and I just brushed it all the way around, all over the piece. And it covers it really easily, and it makes it so that it absorbs the paint without having to do very many coats of the paint. You're able to do just the one coat, as you can see on these three pieces I have already. And this is going to be for my front door, along with another little thing we're going to add to it. So I'm going to allow my gesso to dry completely. As you can see, it's completely covered in the gesso. I'm going to let that dry completely, and I will come back and show you what I'm going to put on this piece. Okay, so I am back, and my gesso is completely dry now. And the first thing I want to do is I want to create a moon, because that is my theme for my coffin here. So I'm using my protractor, and I'm going to adjust it so that it gets the shape that I want, so I can have that moon. And I'm trying to aim directly for the center. And I like the protractor to create the circle for the moon, because it does that perfect circle, as you can see here. So I'm going to take my acrylic yellow, it's called lemon yellow, and I'm just going to fill in that moon shape using my flat brush. And I just want to get the whole thing filled. And I'm not worrying about getting to the edges, because my edges are going to be black. And that will cover any mistakes I make on not getting in that yellow area for the moon. If I go outside of it, it's okay. So once my moon is filled in, like so, you can see it's completely filled in there. Let me turn my flash on so you can see a little bit better. So my moon is completely filled in, and it's got some spots, which I'm okay with because the moon does have some craters. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of yellow and mix it with that orange, just to give it a little bit of shape. And then I'm just gonna brush it on there so it kind of gives it the look of craters. I'm gonna let that dry a little bit, and I'm gonna come back with you, or I can actually let it dry while I go ahead and outline these. Now with these, I like to do them in like coloring book pages, so I sketch out everything first, and then I fill it in like I'm coloring. So like the top here with the skeleton, I drew him all out first, then I did the moons, and I started with the moon because I like to do my background first so I can see how everything's going to play out. So I'll show you how I do that. Let me make sure that I'm going to be able to be seen on camera here. Working in that. Okay. So I'm going to take my liner brush, and I have a lot of them, but I really like the Master's Touch script liner. I think it's 3/6 or something like that, 3/0 or something. So I'm just going to take my acrylic paint, and actually, sorry, I'm using gouache for my background. Sometimes it doesn't flow really well, so we'll see how that works. And I'm just gonna outline the skull here. And I'm gonna leave that spot there and come down here. And then work my way around. And it's just like outlining with a permanent marker. Gouache is a little bit thicker to work with. It dries a little bit longer too. Not dries a little bit longer, but you get what I mean. The drying time is a little bit longer for the gouache to dry. So you want to be careful not to touch it. Give him the neck there, and you can see where my outline is for the skeleton. So I want to touch up the eyes as well and just work around that, and then give the nose features. And if you want, dip your brush in water if you're using the gouache. Sometimes adding water to it will thin it out a little bit and make it flow a little bit nicer. So you want to be careful of any water drops you're going to get on your brush, because you don't want them to get on your painting. So I'm going to come down here and do the mouth. And you see adding the water really helped it flow a little bit better. And I'm going to come in and do these curves. And I'm always turning my work when I'm doing the paintings, because turning your work you get a better view of what you're working on. I apologize, my stomach seems to be making a lot of noises this morning. Okay, so now I'm going to come in and follow those lines I drew out earlier. And by the time I'm done doing this one, my acrylic should be dry on the other one. So I just want to fill in any gaps and adjust anything that I missed when I was filling in with my white paint. Okay, so that part is done. And he came out pretty good. I'm happy with that. I'm going to let it dry because I want to add white to the eyes here. So I'm going to let him dry. And I'm going to come back over to my acrylic here. As you can see, it's still a little shiny, but it should be dry soon. So I can go back with my black, and I'm using a flat brush from Fine Art. And I'm just going to outline my moon first. That way I can just fill in here without worrying about where I'm getting the paint. And I'm going to turn it and hold that edge and do the same process. I'm going to work by my moon first. And then because my moon is dry, you can see it's, I can touch it with my thumb and there's no paint. I'm going to hold it there. Apologize again for my stomach. Okay, so that's done. And while it's drying, I can still come in with my black lettering because my casket is going to sit like so. And I can make sure that it's going the right way because I still have the skeleton. So making sure my piece is right, that it's lined up the way it should be. I want to write the words welcome. So I'm trying to figure out where I want my words. I'm just going to grab my ruler, make sure you can see this. And then grab a pencil. And I just want to give 2 little marks. Just 2 tiny little marks on the side of each. Right here and right here. And I'm gonna take my paintbrush, and I have a Cricut. I could go through with my Cricut and do this with that, but I want to, I'm actually gonna use this brush. I don't want to do that. I want to paint it. So I'm just gonna paint the words welcome. And I'm not worried about how this is gonna look. This is my personal one. If it was for a business item, I would totally change out and use the Cricut because I want it to look more finished, but I want it to be kind of spooky for my home. So I'm just gonna shakily paint out the welcome. And when I say shakily, I'm just letting my hands shake a little bit when I'm painting, because it's going to give that little bit of creepy vibe or shakiness to it that gives you that little bit of waviness. And then I can come through and add little curly cues and whatnot to it, just to add a little bit more to it. So that's it. I'm going to take a picture when this is all done so you can see it at the end of this video. Thank you for watching and have a great day.